And she said, all I knew was that every one of you four children were different after that night.
Welcome to our next series on emotional alignment featuring Jeanne from North Carolina, USA. In this 11-episode journey, we'll take you through a complete emotional alignment life coaching session split into 10 focused segments. Meet Jeanne, a sharp-minded 74-year-old with a long struggle managing body weight and a 20-year history of illness and injury. While she's well aware of past childhood traumas, she's faced a lifelong challenge in overcoming her carbohydrate addiction. In this series, you'll witness how Jeanne is guided through the maze of her mind toward an alignment of emotion that has affected her for over 70 years. Watch, learn, like, and subscribe for more. Is this anything that you've ever thought about before, making these connections?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And even my teacher, when I was in bodywork school, my teacher looked at me one day and he says, you know, Sharon, I have a feeling that you use your weight to be an energy drain. You know, you're using it to use up. You have so much energy. You're using
you do.
weight to use up
Slow
the
you
excess
down.
energy that you have. Because and when I do lose weight and that level of energy goes up, I literally don't know what to do with it. Because another thing that happened when I was really small is because I was the first of, my mother had 4 children in 4 years. And so I asked her once, when did you notice me shifting from being the vivacious child that I started out as to being quieter? And she said, I needed you to be a good girl. And so it squashed
your mom
everything.
said that?
Yes.
And
so it squashed. That was it.
At what
that
age?
was around 4. That was at 4.
So at the age of 4, you were asked to be a good girl.
Yeah.
To tamper it down.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that might just be it.
Well, I know it certainly plays a part.
That is really interesting. No, I think that's it. That's your mother is the most important person in your life.
Yeah.
And she asked you to be something.
Yeah.
Because that's really hitting me when you said that. Because you've done a lot of work on this scary man syndrome that you've been dealing with. But this actually feels very emotional to me. I'm feeling that via you, not just me. So
I've never felt a connection with that specifically. I just remember that was something that happened. So it may be one of the ones that I've turned off in my mind.
Yeah. So tell me the context of that. Tell me that little story. Tell me the context of it.
Well, I just remember she was overwhelmed with 4 children in 4 years. And so I remember helping her. She was changing a baby's diaper, and I can't remember if it was my brother, who was the youngest of the 4, or if it was a neighbor child that she was babysitting that day. But she asked me to take the dirty diaper and drop it in the toilet, which is where she rinsed off the diaper before putting it in the diaper service. That was back in the day of cloth diapers. I didn't ask her then, you know, but I remember saying, oh, you're such a big help to me, you know, that sort of thing. It was years later when I was an adult that I asked her what happened during that time. Why did I shift my personality? Why was there a change? Now, she never, ever, ever spoke to me about the molestation. She knew it happened. Right. I asked her once, I said, you know, tell me what your perception was of that time. And she said, all I knew was that every one of you 4 children were different after that night. And so as a result, after that, they never left us with a babysitter.
Right.
So they were very supportive and caring, never putting us in that situation again, much to their expense, because they wanted to go out and have time alone, but they could
Mm,
never have it.
mm.
And so, so it was, a
Okay,
number of
so
things happening during that time.
hello, I'm JoannaRuth, but you can call me Joanna. I've embraced a carnivore lifestyle increasingly for the past 10 years. Now honing my diet to include meat, seafood, eggs, butter, and salt. No plants or dairy anymore for me. With 30 years of experience in education, teaching both adults and children, I've spent the last 20 years developing effective life coaching methods. I now focus on the mental environment as a crucial factor in our health, and I'm excited to share the method of emotional alignment with the carnivore community, another secret weapon to use for our well-being successes. So how true is it that the solution that was presented to you, even though it wasn't spoken about, it all happened around the same time, and you remember not having any more babysitters, and they might have said, "Oh, that won't be happening again," kind of thing. No more babysitters. We won't go out. How how true is it that this solution of your mother deciding to protect you from any further risk and you be a good girl, which means tamper down your energy? That's how you interpreted the being a
Hmm.
good girl. And the being the good girl is part of the solution to keep you safe.
Hmm.
Because this was your mother's way of keeping you safe. No more babysitters was
She
to,
never said that to me. That's just what they
no,
did.
that's right. But you learn from what happens more than
Yeah,
what's said.
that's true.
So in that, in the reaction space of the molestation, the reaction from your mum was at the same time, they've decided no more babysitters, so no more risk because it's affected all four of you. So we're going to shield you from the world. And at the same time, she asks you to be a good girl, which you've
Mhm.
interpreted as you got positive reinforcement from doing helpful things, not being too energetic, not being too loud. So
It's almost like I was more
tampering you.
acceptable. Yeah, I was more acceptable when I pulled down my enthusiasm
Yes,
and my verve for life,
yes.
my energy for life. Yeah, it was more handleable. She could handle me more.
I'm so grateful to you, Joanna. What you do is so valuable. It's life changing.
Sweeteners, maybe coffee. Yeah, coffee. I'm going to try to get help getting off coffee. I can't wait for a reply.
Yeah. And so so this is what you learned in that same period of time, because the turmoil that was in you, this fear that was in you at that time, needed a solution. You felt so unsafe and the ground was moving under your feet. So anything that your mother decided, any action or change that occurred for you is going to be perceived as a solution. So this bad
Mhm.
thing happened, and if we just do this, we're all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the team of the family, you made a promise that you will tamper down your enthusiasm for life.
Hmm.
Have you ever unpromised that? Or have you ever realized that you promised that and that it's affecting your whole entire life?
Um, I have acknowledged that I experienced that was asked of me. I've gone ahead and been extremely independent and made my own decisions anyway.
Yeah.
So, career I
However,
chose,
but have you, so whatever you've had control of, you have controlled.
yes.
So what can't you control? That is involved in an enthusiasm for life.
Well, being out there and doing anything that requires enthusiasm for life, I've made a situation for myself where I'm sitting alone at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this is because of the agreement that you made.
Partly. It's also because I've been sick and I've been injured.
Perhaps you're sick and injured as part of holding you back.
I understand that that could be playing a
Yeah.
role.
Yeah. So if you look at this intellectually only, you will not solve the problem.
Yeah.
If you assess it intellectually only, I'm telling you, you will not solve the problem. You will spin
Right.
your wheels, and
That's exactly what I've been doing.
it's your subconscious that is encouraging your astute mind to activate in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that, my friend, you have control over. You can stop yourself from assessing intellectually. You have probably done far too much of it, and therefore you leave no room for your emotions to have their say. And I know this because I lived like that. I was trained to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trained because I lived in a scary world and I did have to control everything so that I could live my life. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the changes only occurred when I forced myself to, or I actually exhausted my intellect. And when I was tired enough and sick enough, I stopped and I just allowed the feelings of the ideas to surface. And I became used to them. And this is the only solution. That's why what I do is called emotional alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not understanding the intellect of it, because you can talk about it for days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though I was incredibly excited, I also felt a bit disappointed, but it wasn't Jeanne's fault. She provided me with the information I needed, yet when I asked her how true it was that being a good girl was part of keeping her safe, she realized she'd never made that connection before. This lack of awareness, it kind of left her a bit unenthusiastic, a little bit unsure. Then I explained that her turmoil required a solution. However, she still didn't fully buy it. So I made it clear that viewing the situation only intellectually would lead her to just spin her wheels. At that point, she admitted that's exactly what had been happening until now. I reassured her that she does have power, and I wanted her to focus that willpower that she does have on facilitating her healing process. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Please subscribe to the channel and email us if you'd like more information about life coaching. Here's a playlist for the entire series. Please like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. See you in the next video.